Amidst the glut of mascot-based platformers that appeared in the early 2000s, The Grinch feels like perhaps the most uneventful, as artificial mind and movement's foray into the genre conjures up very little emotion. It would be unfair to say that it is particularly broken or flawed, but it would also be accurate to declare that it is a platformer with very little in the way of charm, spark, or invention. Unless you must simply own every mascot platformer there is to buy, this one is probably an easy pass. Much like he does every year, the Grinch is looking to disrupt Whoville's holidays. As he consults his mountain of boxes containing gadget blueprints, a tumble causes them to scatter all around the town and leave him unprepared for ruining another Christmas. Thus, the game is set, as you're forced to roam around several areas of Whoville, causing disruption, collecting lost blueprints to create gadgets, and wreck presents. There are a few moments of storytelling, which are fine, with the traditional rhyming scheme still incorporated into the dialogue. But if you're familiar with any form of this 50s story, be it the book or the movie upon which this game is based, you'll find the game adds very little.
Okay, Max, we're ready. Let's creep down to Whoville. Let the mayhem begin!
The Grinch follows a basic 3D platformer template. 4 separate areas each contain a handful of missions, as well as collectible presents for you to destroy and blueprints to recover. You'll often find yourself backtracking through levels once you find new gadgets, as some areas are inaccessible until later on. The Green Man himself can jump, perform a pancake in midair to crush anything underneath, and burp his bad breath. The controls feel decent, and the camera works well enough too. It's not that the Grinch is particularly flawed, but its myriad of dull tasks become a chore long before the end. Whether it's the multitude of collection missions, or brief, unsatisfying distractions, even younger players will likely tire of this one. Not even a slew of gadgets spices up the game. Once you attain all the blueprints pieces for a gadget, you have to go back to Grinchy's den and piece it together. You eventually gain access to a rotten egg launcher, slime shooter, and a couple of navigational gadgets which open up more of the area to explore within each level. The gadgets have initial novelty, but as you gain more, the cumbersome switching system and reliance on the same ammo to power any gadget becomes a bit of a chore. The only other element comes in the form of Max, Grinch's trusty canine companion. You can swap to him at any moment, allowing you to explore small openings and bark adorably. But his use is so infrequent, it doesn't add much. It doesn't help that the world of the Grinch is so uninviting. From the very start, everything has a dull-coloured look which fails to bring Seuss's story to life. Environments are plain, characters outside of the protagonist look flat and low-res, and the slew of zones all feel barren and repulsive in tone. The Grinch himself looks better in quality, but low-rent cutscenes with NPCs look awful. The sound isn't much better, with a handful of music tracks which swing between unnerving, irritating, and boring. The main hub theme, for example, sounds ripped out of Silent Hill. Rather than a welcoming platformer. The sparse voice work is acceptable, and as mentioned, the rhyming from the book remains intact. The sound effects are decent in quality, but hardly memorable. Even if you stick with the Grinch, you'll find it's on the short side. Missions primarily progress the story, and eventually you will reach an endgame involving a climactic showdown. This takes around 8 hours to reach, and while you can work towards 100% completion by finding every present, collecting hearts of stone, and completing every mission, most players will probably tire of this long before you reach the end credits, and there is very little incentive for repeat visits. You can unlock some 2-player minigames too, but again, these are insubstantial. While certainly not the worst mascot platformer or movie tie-in, The Grinch is such a hollow and uninviting experience that it's still hard to recommend to anyone but the most die-hard of collectors. The gameplay never really gets into gear, the presentation is more repellent than inviting, and the game's brevity is matched only by its lack of ambition. It's even undercut by a lack of polish in spots, with bugs aplenty. Unlike the character it's based on, The Grinch doesn't see the error of its ways and, consequently, fails to redeem itself despite its more promising qualities.